Shalom Israel, Shalom, Shalom. Brother Naquam, watchman for Israel, coming back at you with these precepts and another cold cut, giving, of course, all honor and glory to Yahweh. Bahashima Mashiach, Wamalaki Bashai. Double honors to the elect elders of the house of David that's been in this truth for decades and decades, patiently waiting and laboring for the second coming of our Lord Yahweh Shai. A hearty and mighty shalom to all of the mighty men of the Most High God who are out there in the highways and byways, pushing this truth, magnifying the ministry, presenting their bodies as a living sacrifice, and enduring all things for the elect's sake. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the men that may not be out there in the highways and byways as of yet, but they're working on it. They're getting built up in the spirit. They're praying, they're fasting, they're studying, they're being diligent, and they're abounding in the work of the Lord. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the Aquath out there, the sincere sisters that are out there zealous, diligent, and on fire, and moving in the spirit of our righteous foremothers. Shalom to the ancient men. Shalom to the children. Shalom to the elect of Israel scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. And shalom to everybody tuning in live on a mighty, mighty Shabbat through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Shema Mashiach Wamalaki Bashai, Yeshab Rael, Nigel Blend, Yazian David, Yehuda Israel, Badia Israel, Don Israel Tamid, Servant 144K, Quadan, Louis GB, Kim Israel, Praise Yahweh, Kyoko Banyamyan, and everybody else tuning in and that will tune in, Lord willing. World War III is here, right? Are you watching? Right? World War III is here. Are you watching? Everybody should be well aware about what the Most High is doing on the earth right now. If you don't know what's going on, you're gonna find out tonight, today, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashmel Shah. You got bombs being dropped as we speak. I mean, we're watching, man, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashmel Shah. It's about 5 a.m., 6 a.m. out there at Tel Aviv and so-called Israel, Iran, and they still dropping bombs, man. They're dropping bombs. The sun is up, and Iran is currently on their second wave, man. Some are calling it the third wave, but they're still dropping bombs, man. Right? While people are reveling and into folly and diverse lust and vanities, wickedness and concupiscence and all manner of follies and vanity, Yahweh Bashmel Shah is touching the earth, and he's stirring up the beginning stages of World War III. Right? And we're going to touch on this, man. We're going to show what's going on. Right? We got the clips, we got the footage, and more importantly, we got the precepts through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashmel Shai and what he's doing in the earth. Right? Let's go to Psalms chapter 47. Right? And you brothers, man, you've been throwing up them curses, man. Keep throwing up them curses. Right? You've been throwing up them prayers that the Most High shows his judgments, that the Most High exacts vengeance. Keep doing that, man. You see through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashmel Shai the fruit of your prayers and the fruit of your labors, man. Yahweh Bashmel Shai is stirring up the angels in that Middle East, and he's putting the minds on these leaders, our adversaries, to destroy one another by the sword. And it's getting bad, man. Right? It's getting bad. You got Tel Aviv getting hit by hypersonic missiles. You got them firing back. Now they're saying France is going to get involved. The UK said we got their back. America, they're working and pulling the strings as the demonic puppeteer, right? You have China who said, you know what, Iran, don't worry about it. We're going to send you more missiles. We're going to send you more drones. We're going to send you more weapons. Israel said, don't do that. If you do that, we want war. Russia, they stepping up and they kind of condemned what Israel did. So these are the beginning stages of a massive global war. Right? This is Psalms chapter 47 and 1. Oh, clap your hands, all ye people. Shout unto the Most High with the voice of triumph. And every brother and sister that's in the knowledge of Yahweh Bashmel Shah, you have to say, call Allah Yahweh Bashmel Shah. You got to get the Most High his due hands to say, call Allah Yahweh Bashmel Shah, man. This isn't something that's you can be nonchalant about. Well, you too cool for school, man. Clap your hands, give praises to Yahweh Bashmel Shai, and call upon the name of the Creator in heaven and earth for allowing you to be able to see your enemies destroy one another by the sword, man. Right? By ICBM missiles, by hypersonic missiles, breaking through missile defense systems, children dying, Iranian generals and scientists and their prominent men dying. Now there's word that a so-called Israeli, a so-called Jew, one of their top naval officers is dead. A female pilot is taken captive. There are civilian casualties, right? So give credit and give glory and praise Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, man. If you didn't praise Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua for what you're seeing on the earth right now, you're going off. Oh, clap your hands, all ye people. Shout unto Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua with the voice of triumph. For Yahweh Most High is terrible. He is a great king over all the earth. And we're the ones that are going to acknowledge and call upon the name of the Most High, understanding and knowing without a shadow of a doubt that he is the one that is stirring up these nations to destroy one another with the sword. The Most High is a master chess player. And he is terrible towards these heathen, man. He's a great king over all the earth. He's the one that's telling Trump to say, you know what? We didn't have nothing to do with this attack. But yet at the same time, the so-called Jew is saying that Trump and the state of America or America said they gave us the green light. The Most High set them up, man, to be exposed. The Most High set up Iran to raise that red flag of vengeance and actually to back up what they were going to do, man. So these are the beautiful things where brothers have to give glory and praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, man. Right? The Psalms chapter 65 and verse number 5. It reads, by terrible things and righteousness wilt thou answer us, O God of our salvation, who art the confidence of all the ends of the earth and of them that are afar off upon the sea. So the Lord is going to answer your prayers. Here you are praying that you're delivered from police brutality, praying that you're delivered from the court system, praying that you're delivered from financial damn woes and bills and rent and your job that's oppressing you and all manner of wickedness that you experience here in America. You're praying for these things, man, to be delivered. But the Most High, he hears you. And he's going to answer you by doing terrible things in righteousness to your enemies. Right? That's what this means by terrible things. Children dying, hospitals being blown up, schools being blown to smithereens, hypersonic missiles invading iron domes, generals dying, your enemies' top generals are dead, man. So they say their top scientists, their wise men are being destroyed. These are terrible things to the nations, but we have to understand that's how the Most High is going to answer us. Remember in Egypt, when we sighed and cried in Egypt, didn't the Most High hear us? And how did the Lord answer? By terrible things, by 10 wonderful plagues to the Egyptians. Right? This Exodus chapter 2 and verse number 23. Right? And it came to pass in process of time that the king of Egypt died, and the children of Israel sighed by reason of the bondage, and they cried, and their cry came up unto the Most High by reason of the bondage. So all of your cries, all of your groaning, all of your complaining, all of these things are being heard on high. And these cries wax heavy and high to the third heaven. The angels, they record these things, and day by day they bring this report to the Most High. And what? And the Most High heard their groaning. And Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. And the Most High looked upon the children of Israel, and the Most High had respect unto them. And this is happening right now. He has respect unto those who are repenting and coming back to the covenant. And the Most High has respect unto you, man, for forsaking the world, forsaking sin, and calling upon them in the last days. And the Lord raised up Moses to deliver his people during the times of bondage. And the Lord showed wonderful plagues and frogs and flies and lice and locusts and boils and plagues on the livestock and darkness and locusts and death of the firstborn. The Most High did these things, man. Hell mingled with fire. That's how the Lord answered our groaning in ancient Egypt. When we sighed, that's how the Lord responded. So what you're seeing on the earth right now is the judgment of the Most High, the fulfillment of prophecy. But don't forget that this is an answer to all of your prayers, right? All of your prayers. Remember, in the book of Revelation, right? Like I said, we got a lot we want to get into, right? What did the Most High say? This is the book of Revelation, chapter 8 and verse number 1. And when he had opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven about the space of half an hour, right? And I saw the seven angels which stood before the Most High, and to them were given seven trumpets. Now here's the point. And another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer, and there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all saints upon the golden altar which was before the throne. So keep throwing those prayers up, because those prayers are reaching to the third heaven, man. And that's why Yahweh Shah said in Luke 18:1 on down, that men ought always to pray and not to faint. Don't faint, man. So the angels and all your prayers, they're going up for the third heaven. Every teardrop, every drop of blood that was shed. Even David spoke of that in Psalms. He said, are not my tears written in your book? Every cry and groan is recorded. Let's read on. Here's the point. Verse number 4. And the smoke of the incense, which came with the prayers of the saints, ascended up before God out of the angel's hand. And the angel took the censer and filled it with the fire of the altar and cast it into the earth. And there were voices and thunderings and lightnings and an earthquake. So when all of your prayers are heard, the Most High turns those prayers into an answer, and it turns into judgment on the enemies. That's what when our prayers were mingled with the fire of Yahweh Bashmi Abashad, and your prayers are cast back to the earth, there were voices and thunderings and lightnings and an earthquake, which means the judgment that the angels bring on the earth. That's the thunderings and the lightnings and the voices when you read the book of Revelation. And the earthquake comes by means of the missiles, man, and by means of judgment. So what you're seeing going on right now, and we're going to pull it up on the screen, right? What you see going on with Iran, Tel Aviv, which is a chief city in the current land of Israel, bombs dropping. All this is the Most High answering the prayers of the saints and judging the wicked, man. And judging the wicked. And these are actual prophecies being fulfilled too, man. I'm excited, man. You know, when I woke up this morning, because this was going on last night, brothers in the chat was going crazy, man, sending that. And whatever we saw, we were sending it, man. You got brothers that were staying up all night hitting that refresh button, waiting for the bombs to drop. And I woke up, man. I had to go to the plantation this morning, but I wasn't even mad, man. You know, like I normally am. You know, I wasn't even upset like I normally am, man. I just kept watching and watching the prophecies unfold, current updates, latest news, scrolling, seeing what the Most High is doing on the earth, man. And I'm excited. If you're not excited, you're going off, man. If you're not excited about the judgment that the Most High is doing on the earth, you have to ask yourself, what kind of spirit are you in? Because here it is, the Most High destroying your adversaries in front of you, but yet, you know, you're not really into it, man. You're nonchalant, like I said. You're too cool for school. You didn't praise the Most High. You're not thanking the Heavenly Father. Hey, when the Most High destroyed our enemies, even in the ancient world, our women sang, man. Is it not written that the women sang and they answered one another and said, Saul slayed his thousands and David his 10,000s. And it was turning up. When Judith took 2 strokes and chopped off the head of Holofernes, and they set it up, Judith led the women in dancing, and the men was turning up too, man. When we destroyed the Babylonians and the Assyrians. When the Lord sent Barak and the children of Naphtali and the other tribes to destroy the Midianites and the heathen, there's a whole song in Judges, the 5th chapter, that Barak and Deborah had. Turning up, man. When we left Egypt, you have the Song of Moses. When Nicanor died, there was a holy day established. When Haman, his 10 sons died and the Lord overthrew the council of the Macedonian and Edomite, the Lord established back-to-back days of feasting and mirth and sending portions one to another and gifts to the poor. So the point is, when the Most High destroys our adversaries, we are a people who turn up, man, who get excited, who shout. Then the Lord say, let me get this real quick because I'm getting excited, right? This Proverbs chapter 11 and 10. I believe that's what I want, right? See that? Proverbs 11 and 10. It's in the Bible. I'm not making this up. It's in the Bible, right? Proverbs 11 and 10. When it goeth well with the righteous, the city rejoiceth. And when the wicked perish, there is shouting. And it is going well with the righteous right now, right? It is going well, man. I mean, we got Edomites dying and getting attacked. Then you got Elamites and Ishmaelites dying and they getting attacked. It's going well with the righteous on the Shabbat, right after the blood moon. It was a blood moon yesterday. It happened, man. When it goeth well with the righteous, the city rejoiceth. And we are a city. We are doors. We are gates. We are lively stones. We are a foundation built on Yahushua being the chief cornerstone and the foundation of the apostles and the prophets. So we are the city. And it is going well with the righteous. Our deliverance draws nigh. The prophecies are unfolding. Bombs are dropping in the earth. And when the wicked perish, and who's more wicked than an Amalekite, man? If you could name me something or someone that's more wicked than an Amalekite, I'll shut the live down right now, man. Don't say the I, don't say the woman. Name me an individual, a nation of people more wicked than an Amalekite, man. If you don't know who the Amalekites are, that's your so-called Jew in your land, pretending to be you. The Most High said when they die, when they are under tons and tons of rubble and debris and collapsed buildings, and they're walking around with bandages and busted up head. Hey, when the Most High said when they perish, there is shouting, right? Verse number 11. By the blessing of the upright, the city is exalted, but it is overthrown by the mouth of the wicked, man. Right? Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Right? And again, let's get this, man. This is Tel Aviv right now, right? Let me see if I can get the audio to this. So if you haven't been watching, right? Iran bombed Israel, right? It's like Israel bombed Iran first. You damn devils. And they always say we have a right to defend ourselves. That's why I hate you so-called, you Amalekites, man. Right? You always go on the offensive first, and then you throw stones, hide your hands, and have this damn sorcery that you put on the minds of the people saying we have a right to defend ourselves. Well, nobody attacked you, man. Well, we don't want Iran to build a nuclear bomb. Well, why not? You got some. We don't want them to build up their nuclear arsenal. You got them. So again, this is the hypocrisy and the wickedness of these damn devils, man. And you got America behind the scenes funding them with billions of dollars, sometimes trillions of dollars year by year for the military defense system, for their weapons, right? And for all manner of technological advances. So I'm gonna play this, man. Right? We got a lot we got to get into tonight through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. So this is Tel Aviv right now. Israel attacked Tel Aviv, Iran. They said, and Iran was talking crazy, man. Hey, Iran was talking real. What they say, spicy. They say spicy now. It was talking crazy. Talking like y'all don't. What they say? They said, hey, y'all started it. And we're gonna respond back. We're gonna get it in blood. And you would have thought that Jake was handling accounts and stuff, man. That's some a Negro from the streets. They was talking like they was talking that talk. You know, y'all asked for this. You know, we're gonna crush y'all. We got that thing on us. They was talking that, man. We got that thing on us. We're gonna drop something that y'all ain't never seen before. So, you know, they was getting real crazy, man. And normally And situations like this, normally, they don't really back it up. They kind of do they talking, then the weeks go by, then they shoot a damn missile in the Sea of Galilee. Hey, but they backed it up this time. They backed it up. So let's play this. This is from 4 hours ago, right? Aviva Klumpus, dear Lord, this is Tel Aviv. Now keep in mind, Tel Aviv is one of the homosexual capitals of the world, not just of Israel, of the world. They had defiled the land of God and made Tel Aviv one of the homosexual capitals of the entire earth. And here's the judgment on it. That looks like Gaza, right? That's judgment, man. You've been bombing these damn so-called Palestinians every day, murdering mothers, murdering pregnant women and women with child, children getting their heads blown off, men getting popped and raped, man, freakism and murder and bloodshed, and the Most High turned your sword upon your own head. He that doeth wrong shall receive of the wrong that he had done. Hey, the Lord said there's no respect to persons, meaning anybody can get it. And you getting it right now. Look at this city, man. Right? Now, how could you be the people of God? Well, where is their God at? Where is their God at? If the world has created them and exalted them as the people of the Most High, where is the angels at? I thought the angel of the Lord encampeth round about them that fear him and delivereth them. Where is Psalms 91 and 1 on down? 1,000 shall fall at thy side and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. Well, it did come nigh thee. It came all in your skyscrapers and your buildings and blew up all them homosexuals and child molesters, man. So you know they're not the people of the Most High. The prophecy tells you in the book of Isaiah, the 2nd chapter, and Micah, the 4th chapter, when the true children of Israel are in that land, that nation shall not learn war anymore. They're going to turn their swords into plowshares. So you're going to go from this agricultural, warlike, mongrel society back to this technological, warlike society. It's going to go back to peace and agricultural and farming. But again, these are supposed to be the people of the Most High, but yet there's still wars in the earth. I thought in the book of Psalms it says the Most High is going to break the battle out of the earth. In Hosea 2:18, he speaks of these things as well. So you know for sure that these ain't the people of the Most High, right? We the people of the Lord, right? You know? So let's play this again. Damn. Look at that car blown up. And I just hope that it was somebody in there. I mean, all praise to the Most High, the Lord blew up the car, but, Most High willing, there was a family of 5 in there. And there was a car seat in there, maybe 2 car seats. And you may not like that, but hey, we don't care, man. All of the wickedness that we have to go through, we've experienced, that we're dealing with. I hope it was 3 car seats in the back, man, of that car right there. And I hope they was on their way to have a good time. I hope they were going to have the best day of their life that day. I hope they had a good day that day, man. Whoever was in that car, because right now they're in the spirit world. I know they're not looking down, smiling. Everybody that died, they don't look down and smile. That's Christianity. Oh, but they're looking down and smiling. They're not looking down, smiling. They're in the 3rd heaven, in the particular chambers of souls, and they're going to be resurrected in the day of judgment and destroyed by fire. The same as though it after death by pain. Looking down, smiling. Now, this was part of the first wave of attacks. I don't believe there were many casualties. I believe they said, I think 10 people died or so. I believe it was about 10 people. I'll have to go back and look. But Iran, again, last time I checked, and we're going to pull up what's currently going on. We're going to watch in real time. But I believe they're in their second or third wave right now through the spirit, right? I believe they're in their second or their third wave, right? Let's go to, before we pull up the next one, let's go to the book of Second Ezra, right? Chapter 16, right? Let's go to Second Ezra, chapter 16. And I want I'm going to read a few verses in this chapter, right? Then we're going to move on. Second Ezra, chapter 16 and verse 1. And again, you're living in these days of Second Ezra, man. We're going to be reading Second Ezra, chapter 15 and 16, chapter 9, chapter 6, chapter 7. We're going to be in the book of Revelation, because these are the times on the earth, man. Right? We have to speak what the Most High is showing us. Like we read earlier, or in the previous lesson, in Acts the 4th chapter, the apostle said, we can't but speak and see the things that we have heard. Right? Let me get that again, man. Right? So, these are what the men of the Lord are going to be going into, man. Right? This is what the men of the Lord are going to be speaking about, the judgment to the Most High. The Lord said, that which I tell you in secret, proclaim upon the housetop. Right? So this is Acts chapter 4 and verse number 20. I'll read 19. But Peter and John answered and said unto them, whether it be right in the sight of God to hearken unto you more than unto God, judge ye. For we cannot but speak the things which we have seen and heard. So again, this is the spirit that we in. When the Most High shows us the prophecies and his judgments, we have to speak on it, right? We can't hold our tongue. And if we hold our tongue, let me get this in Matthew, right? Let's get this real quick. This is the book of Matthew. Let's see if this is what I want. Actually, let me get Luke, right? Let's get this real quick. That's one account. Right through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai. Right, this is Luke chapter 19 and verse number 38, saying, blessed be, I'm going to start at 37. And when he was come nigh, this Yahweh Shai is what they call his entry to Jerusalem, his triumphal entry, right? Luke 19 and 37. And when he was come nigh, even now at the descent of the Mount of Olives, the whole multitude of the disciples began to rejoice and praise God with a loud voice for all the mighty works that they had seen. So that goes back to Psalms 47, right? They're praising the Most High for all of the mighty works that we have seen. And this is the time to give thanks to the Most High, right? For allowing you to be able to see the end of the world and all of the Most High's mighty works. Don't be like your fathers, man, who lightly esteemed the works of the Most High. These men went through the Red Sea and it was a thing of naught to them. Bread came down from heaven and they said we want quails, man. They lightly esteemed the work of the Most High. Don't let that be you in the last days, or you might not make it. They praise Yahweh Shai with a loud voice for all the mighty works that they had seen, saying, blessed be the King that cometh in the name of the Lord, peace in heaven and glory in the highest. And some of the Pharisees from among the multitude said unto him, Master, rebuke thy disciples, meaning tell them to stop praising you and stop talking about your mighty works. Tell them to chill out. They're too righteous. They're calling upon the name of the Most High too much. What did Yahweh say? Verse number 40. And he answered and said unto them, I tell you that if these shall hold their peace, the stones would immediately cry out. So they couldn't stop it. They couldn't help but praise the name of the Most High. Now, even if they did stop, the Most High, he's going to put the spirit on somebody to praise him and to speak on this, right? So if you don't talk about it, somebody's going to talk about it. Right? The Lord's going to put his spirit on somebody. It's going to fall upon them, and they're going to have to talk about the Most High's judgments, right? He said, if these shall hold their peace, the stones would immediately cry out. Huh? That's heavy right there. So let's go back to Second Ezra before we pull up the next clip, right? Second Ezra, chapter 16 and verse number 1. Woe be unto thee, Babylon and Asia. Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria. So woe means destruction, death, right? Woe be unto thee, Babylon. This Babylon is not Iraq, where ancient Babylon was, but this Babylon is Babylon the Great, right? But you know as America. That's the biblical name, the land of confusion. The Lord said, death and destruction be unto Babylon, meaning America, and Asia. Now, believe it or not, what's going on, Iraq, China, Russia, Iran, those countries are in Asia, huh? You know, Russia is in Asia, believe it or not, right? India is in Asia, Pakistan. So Asia is going to play the continent is going to play a major role in biblical prophecy, not just Asia Minor, but Asia Major. The regions that are beyond Turkey is Asia Major, right? The regions of Turkey and near Armenia, that's Asia Minor. Okay, the Lord said death and destruction to those regions. That's why bombs are dropping to and fro right now. Verse number 2. Gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair. Bewail your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand. A sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back? A fire is sent among you, and who may quench it? Plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away? And when the Most High began to put his hand on the earth, you can't stop it. There's nothing there's no protester, there's no politician, there's no wise man, right? There's no angel, there's no prophet. Nobody can stop what the Most High begins to do. Only the Most High can let go, right? So if the Most High sends the sword and war and fire, you can't drive them away. You're going to fulfill the will of the Lord. Now, you're going to hear a lot of talk of de-escalation. You're going to hear a lot of talk of ceasefire, a lot of talk of don't make this bigger than what it is. And even if things quell back down, war is inevitable. War is inevitable in that region, right? It's going to happen. Verse number 6. May any man drive away a hungry lion in the wood, or may anyone quench the fire in stubble when it hath begun to burn. And you can't drive away a hungry lion, man. I've never seen that. That's not on the Animal Planet, Discovery Channel, online, You can't drive away a hungry lion, man. Once he see you, it's over. It's lights out. Verse number 7. May one turn again the arrow that is shot of a strong archer. Now, the arrow are the missiles, right? An arrow really is a missile. Even when they had bows and arrows, that's a missile, right? The only difference is you have intercontinental ballistic missiles, right? Because, we pulled this up before again. What is the definition of a missile, right? A missile, an object, right, which is forcibly propelled at a target, like an actual arrow. If I had a bow and arrow right now and I shot it, or I had a crossbow, and you could call that a missile, and you would not be wrong. If you study ballistics and these things, you would know that that's a missile, right? Now, when David slew Goliath, that object that was forcibly prepared out that sling, that was a missile, right? According to the definition. An object which is forcibly propelled at a target, and that target was Goliath's damn forehead, either by hand or from a mechanical weapon, right? And then you have another definition: a weapon that is self-prepared. This self-propelled, right? Or directed by remote control, carrying conventional or nuclear explosives. That's the modern day definition. But the standard is just an object which is forcibly propelled, right? So when you have arrows, you have ancient arrows and you have futuristic arrows, right? Now you have arrows that instead of being shot by a bow, they're launched off of a nuclear silo or a launch pad. And a strong archer is the Most High. And really on a surface level, the strong archer, right? See that? The strong archer would also represent these nuclear scientists, because they're the ones that are responsible for the creation and the manufacturing of the arrows. And you can't stop that, man. And many nations are working on creating an anti-missile defense system. But when the Most High shoot these arrows on the earth, you've even seen the quote-unquote invincible Iron Dome get penetrated. Because the Most High, his spirit is in those missiles. He's controlling those missiles. They work for him. All of these armies work for the Most High. He's the Lord of hosts. So whatever the Most High want to do, he's going to get it done. Verse number 8. The mighty Lord sendeth the plagues, and who is he that can drive them away? You can't drive them away, man. These judgments are on the earth. And again, we're praying that Israel retaliates, then Iran retaliates. And eventually this thing kind of pick up, man. And it snowballs completely out of control. And other countries, which already are in the midst, they get further pulled into this conflict. Because right now, it's not at the level of a major world event, because it's only two parties involved directly. But once other parties get involved, you can classify it as a major world conflict. In order for it to be a major world conflict, you need various nations from the world indirectly and directly involved, both indirectly and directly involved. Now, America, they're involved, right? As much as they want to hide and say, well, we didn't know what was going on, we encouraged them not to do it. Nobody, who's going to listen to that, man? What truth has America ever said, man? Oh, well, we didn't know what happened. Well, we told them stand down. But then Iran said, well, oh no, y'all gave us the green light. Don't be playing around, man. Stop playing the 50, man. You told us we could do this. You sent us money and weapons to do this. Now you saying you ain't know you did it, man. Hey, them Israelis, they ain't really playing around. They bloodthirsty, man. They call out America, right? They called them out through the spirit, man, and power of Yahweh Bashmi Shai, man. Right? They actually called them out. And World War III is on the rise, man. Right? Let's go to Revelation. Right? I want to pull up some more clips about what's going on, and we're going to watch this destruction. Revelation chapter 11 and 14. Right? Revelation chapter 11 and 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Right? So the third woe, the final woe, or the complete woe, is going to be by means of World War III. That is the third woe, and it cometh quickly. Let's go to Revelation 8. Right? Let's go to Revelation 8, and I want verse number 13. So the third woe cometh quickly. And we're just waiting for a nuke. The nuclear bomb. Just drop one. Because once that nuke drop, it's no looking back. There's really no de-escalation. You're not de-escalating from a nuclear bomb dropping. That's what we're really waiting on, when the powers of heavens are going to be shaken. We know that this is going to build up, and we'll have to go through, Jacob's trouble, the fifth seal, and things of this nature, and, martyrdom, and, the great time of trouble. And World War III is also going to be increasing, but we want to see it. You want to see that third woe. Revelation chapter 8 and 13. And I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, woe, woe, woe. Three woes, right? To the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the three angels, which are yet to sound. So we read about the third woe that cometh quickly. Now in Revelation 8, you have three woes. Now 3 is a number that means emphasis. like we always speak to. The Lord called Samuel 3 times. Yahushua appeared unto the disciples after the resurrection 3 times. The Lord was in the grave 3 days and 3 nights. Paul had that demon that buffeted him, and he prayed thrice that it might depart from him. The Apostle Paul told the church in Corinth, he said, this is now the 3rd time I am writing to you, that out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every word may be established. Right? So 3 is a prominent and significant number in biblical prophecy and amongst the Jews. So whoa, 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 it's not something that you read and you just brush off as if it means nothing. That's why you have 3 major world wars: World War I, World War II, and World War III. And there's not going to be a World War IV. Well, what about World War IV? You even had that Edomite, that scientist. He has the famous quote, and they asked him, "What?" I believe they asked him, "What do you think about World War III?" Right? Let's pull this up. Einstein quote World War III. Right? Here's what he said. Right? When they asked him, "What do you think about World War III?" Mass destruction could damage much of the earth, kill many humans, animals, and other living things, and cause the collapse of modern civilization, meaning the end of the white man's world, Esau. Albert Einstein is often quoted as having said, here's the quote, "I know not with what weapons World War III will be fought, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones." And why would he say World War IV is going to be fought with sticks and stones? Because after World War III, man is going back to the Stone Age, man. No technology, EMP attacks, complete blackout, and reset of modern civilization to the point where people won't have these facilities to manufacture bullets and ammunition and guns and weapons and planes and jets and have fuel. So he even said, man, World War III is the last one. Because if there was a World War IV, it would be fought with sticks and stones, man. You know? So that's why the scriptures say, woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth. Who's the inhabitants of the earth? All flesh. Now the elect are going to be protected in these days, man. You know, if we're part of that elect, we're not worried, man. But what if a bomb hits my city? If a bomb hits your city and you're the elect, you're not going to be here when the bomb hit that city. You'll be in that chariot. You'll be translated by that time. You don't have to worry about a bomb hitting your city if you're a man of Yahweh Shemiel Shai, or you're a woman of Yahweh Shemiel Shai. Even your children are sanctified, man. Right? Else were they unclean, but now are they holy. Right? Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 50. Right? Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse number 22. Jeremiah chapter 50 and 22. A sound of battle is in the land and of great destruction. These are the prophecies that you're going through. The sound of battle is in the land. And again, you know what they call that? They call that sound of battle in the land, they call it war drums. Right? They call it war drums. Let's see, pull that meaning up. What is war drums? War drums, a drum beaten as a summons or an accompaniment to battle. And in the ancient world, that was used to stir up the spirit of the soldiers, to get them hyped up, to get them amped up, right, for war and destruction. They would actually have war drums and they would beat them over and over as the battle waxed stronger and stronger. So the Lord has war drums in the earth, right? That's these nations talking about how they're going to bomb one another, retaliate, and destroy each other. That's the sound of battle. When you hear that bomb dropping in Tel Aviv, it is the sound of battle. When you hear buildings collapsing in Iran, that is the sound of battle. When you hear missiles taking off in the air, that is the sound of battle. There's no peace. Only the sound of battle in the land and of great destruction. Children crying, rubble, collapsing buildings. That is the sound of great destruction. Let's jump to verse number 25, right? Jeremiah 50 and 25. Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, hath opened his armory and hath brought forth the weapons of his indignation. For this is the work of the Lord God of hosts and the land of the Chaldeans. And right now, the Lord has opened his armory, the storehouse of weapons. The Lord has an armory. He has the missiles. He has us. We're his battle axe and weapons of war. And he even has the so-called white man. He's called the sword, you know? So the Lord, his creation can be used and are being used as his weapons. So when he opens his armory, it's time for war and bloodshed and conflict. And right now, the Lord said, you know what? Here's the weapons I want to use on the earth. I'm the Lord of hosts. I want to shoot missiles on the earth. So he puts the spirit on these nations to start doing these things. It says it hath brought forth the weapons of his indignation. So all the weapons that are going to be used in World War III belong unto Yahweh. These are his weapons that he created. He made those weapons, man. He put the spirit on these scientists, on Oppenheimer, on these Germans, these wise men, to be able to understand how the elements work. They were, see, the Lord gave that to Solomon on the right-hand side. The Lord also gave that understanding of elements and the matter. He gave that to Esau on the left-hand side. And once they got that understanding, it was used for wickedness and destruction. You know, Solomon had the operation of the elements. He wasn't making nuclear bombs. He wasn't making weapons of mass destruction. But the Lord tapped into that demon in the so-called white man, and he was being used, and he is being used as a vessel of mass destruction. He himself is a vessel of mass destruction. So let's play this, right? Let's pull this clip up. So we showed you what's going on in Tel Aviv, right? And this is part of that rhetoric, man. Right? Now, this is from an Israeli newspaper in 1984. Iran is in the final stages of making a nuclear bomb. So they've been saying this over and over, man. They see the so-called Jew, and what you see going on right now is not the Israeli man defending himself. Look at what he did to Gaza. He's always the aggressor. He's always on the offense. He's never responding to being attacked. And he only responds once he attacks those who are defenseless, man. But you see, they've been propagating this idea of Iran being in the final stages. And this is nothing but sorcery. You were taught that the so-called Jew in the land of Israel is the most persecuted, the most hated, and that they are the people of God. And whoever they name as an enemy, you have to accept as an enemy, because you're essentially conditioned to love who they love and to hate who they hate as their offspring. And you're mentally their offspring. They have begotten you through the education system. They have begotten you through religion. They have begotten you through the media. They have renewed your mind and made you love all that they love. You were taught to read their books. You were completely indoctrinated to accept that this so-called Jew is persecuted, man. You know? And that's why they've been saying this since the beginning. Iran is in the final stages of making a nuclear bomb. This is from the 80s. From the 80s, damn 80s, man. And that's why we know, that's why we when they call America the great Satan and they hate the so-called Jew, we understand that, man. We understand that. This is nothing but what is the terminology I'm looking for? This is an elite globalist agenda. This has nothing to do with Netanyahu. This has nothing to do on a deeper level with Trump. This is an elite Zionist globalist agenda. From the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the powers that be, the Oppenheimers, the DuPonts, the Gettys, these rich elites, to further push the agenda of the state of Israel being the true Jews of the Bible and fulfilling the geographical boundaries that the Lord gave Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. There's nothing. You thought you had us. You don't have us, man. We understand. You damn devils, man. And what your mission is and what your plan is. The Lord has opened up our understanding. You know? See, the Most High said there's nothing. Let me get this in Luke, the 12th chapter. Right? That's what's really going on. Right? That's what's really going on. And I did a cold cut maybe 6 months ago, 5 months ago, going into the Zionist regime and how every major world war, both, World War I, World War II, were supported and set up by the so-called Jew. And they use America as a master puppet. America's just the master puppet for the so-called Jew. That's his corporation. That's his weapon of war. So they enticed America to get into World War I. They brought them into World War II. Now they're bringing America into World War III. Right? They're doing the same thing. The Lord said, he that repeateth the matter separated very friends. And the Lord also said, a wise man or an eloquent man is known far and near, but a wise man understandeth when he slippeth. And we know when you slipping right now, you damn devil. Yeah, you're known far and near. People accept and believe and bow down to you, but we know when you slipping, and you've been slipping since you took that land over. Luke chapter 12 and 2. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. So our nationality was hid, but now it's known. The truth of the Bible, it was hid, now it's known. Even secret agendas, illuministic councils, right? Dark conspiracies, shadow governments, deep states, wicked elites. These things that were once kept from the public eye, right? Through deception and sorcery, Yahweh Bashmiel Shah is revealing these things and putting these things on the forefront, right? That's what's going on. This thing is being revealed, man. Right? So these devils who've been pushing this agenda since the inception of Babylon the Great, man. Right? Since the inception of Babylon the Great. So let's play this clip right here. I'll get the audio. Right? Let's play this. About Tel Aviv getting bombed. Man, I could watch Tel Aviv get bombed all day. If I can have that as a reoccurring damn reel on my phone, hey, I would, man. I would have it. So here's what else is going on. Let's play this. Right? Look at that. Okay, there's no sound for that. But you can see it. Look at that. Let's play it again. Now, what happened to the Iron Dome? I thought the Iron Dome, which is the state of Israel's anti-missile defense system, I thought it was impenetrable. I thought nobody can go through it, but you see the Most High's work, man. He allowed that missile to go through. The Lord did that. Look at that. It looks like a star falling from heaven, as it is written in the book of Revelation. The stars falling from heaven. Look at that. Right? The Most High did that, man. Right? So they thought Iran couldn't do it. Iran can't shoot a missile. They're completely done. We killed their scientists. We killed their generals. We killed their top military officials. But hold on, you still got missiles being shot, man. Look at that. Being shot to the ends of the earth, right? And they can't stop that, man. Right, let's pull up the next one. Next clip. Now, this is from, hold on, bear with me. I want to pull this up. Right? Salakia. Like I said, man, this stuff is happening right now. Right? As we speak, you got live, right? You got live turmoil going on through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashmiel Shah. Right? Let me pull this up. Bear with me. Let me play this real quick. So this is another reporter that's actually on the scene giving an account of what's happening during that attack. All right, so let's play this clip real quick. Right, and this is all fair use. All right, this is all fair use. Now, this is so-called, this is Trey. Right, damn Trey out there.
And into today, the Iranians have responded with 3 waves of ballistic missiles. This is Israel's version of the Pentagon. And into today.
See that? So they said they're on 3 waves of ballistic missiles. So if I'm not mistaken, right? Let me see what time is it out there in Iran? I believe it's around, they're like 5.5, 6 hours ahead of the East Coast. So let's see, what time is it in Iran? It was 8:30. So they over 6 hours. It's 8:30 out there, right? And word is that they're still out there dropping missiles, man. Right?
And into today, the Iranians have responded with 3 waves of ballistic missiles. This is Israel's version of the Pentagon, the Kiryat. And the building on this compound was just hit.
Please go back, please, go back, please.
You can understand here, it's very tense at this specific location because the Iranians are now targeting the defense establishment of Israel.
So you see, he said they attacked their version of the Pentagon. Now, when I believe, if I'm not mistaken, back in 2001, when he talked about the so-called terrorist attacks, right? I believe one of them, they said attacked the Pentagon or landed near the Pentagon. And that was one of the main reasons for, we really know what happened, but we know it was an inside job. What that was the main reasons of propaganda and witchcraft that America used to have the American public be galvanized under them going into Iraq to invade for weapons of mass destruction. Part of it was the Pentagon being attacked. So if Iran allegedly attacked and destroyed a portion of Israel's Pentagon, that's a big deal, man. Right? All of these are signs pointing to a major global conflict. Their Pentagon got attacked. What is their chief defense building for the military?
The Pentagon, the Kiryat. And have responded with 3 waves of ballistic missiles. This is Israel's version of the Pentagon, the Kiryat. And the building on this compound was just hit.
Please go back, please, go back, please.
You can understand here, it's very tense at this specific location because the Iranians are now targeting the defense establishment of Israel. And so I'm going to have my cameraman pan up here to this building just across the street from the Kiryat. And so,
oh, hell breaking loose, man. They said back up, right? Back up now. We're trying to uncover the dead bodies.
You can see it's very tense right here because, again, the Iranians were able to just strike a very significant target in Israel. As we move forward and into today.
You see that, man? So it's getting real out there, man. They're trying to recover and see the damage that was done by the waves of the Iranians, man. Right? By the waves of the Iranians. Now, let's play this. I'm going to share my screen again, and we're going to read this through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemiah Shah. So again, this is Iran, who launched a fresh wave of missiles, right? This is from Al Arabiya, right? And it says breaking. This is from today. Iran launched a fresh wave of attacks on Israel early Saturday. See that? State media said after Israel's military reported it detected inbound missiles from Iran. Right? Let's read on. New round of Honest Promise 3 attacks, state television reported, referring to the name of the Iranian military operation against Israel. See, they called They called their military operation Honest Promise, right? And they promised that we're gonna get you back, man. And they were honest about that. Because this so-called Jew, he called his attacks the rising lion, right? You are a lion, but a wicked lion, right? A young lion that devoured the sheep. And then Iran said, we're going to call our attack the Honest Promise, man. Honest Promise 3, we coming back at you. Back to back. So these Iranians, man, they've been talking crazy. I've never seen them talk so crazy. Right? I haven't seen them really get real, what they say, they in a bag, man. Right? We're going to get you back. We got them things on us. Right? Watch this. See me now. Right? You asked for it. They must have a Jake tied up somewhere feeding them, this kind of that spirit, man. So let me read this again. New round of Honest Promise 3 attacks. State television reported, referring to the name of the Iranian military operation against Israel following deadly Israeli strikes on the Islamic Republic, right? So they're in their third wave of attack, right? Iran launches fresh wave of attacks on Israel. The Most High is doing that, man. The Most High is shaking up the scene. Real quick, before we pull up the next one, let's go to Jeremiah 25. The Most High is shaking up the scene right now. All praise to the Most High. And again, you got other nations. They're looking to get involved. France came out and said it. That double Macron who's a victim of domestic abuse from his wife. I don't know if brother saw that. And now he's saying his wife might be a man, which I wouldn't be surprised. Hey, but he getting his hands put on by his woman, but he still came out and said that we'll defend Israel, man. So if France gets pulled into that, and per Article 5 of NATO, which simply, paraphrasing, says if you attack one NATO country, you attack all NATO countries. So per adventure, France gets pulled into this World War III or this regional conflict, and some of their military is killed and attacked. By default, the United Kingdom has to get involved, Germany has to get involved, Spain has to get involved, and every other country of NATO. So if one European nation of NATO gets involved, it's only a matter of time before it turns into a massive global war and a global operation. China right now, they're already funding financially. They're giving Iran weapons. They're giving them money. They're giving them drones. They're giving them oil and fuel. So China, they doing their thing. And Russia, they kind of sitting back. He kind of got his arms folded. And Russia, if they get involved, they get involved, man. So you can see it building up as these nations that are playing this indirect role play more of a direct role in this war. A lot of nations America uses Israel as a proxy army, and Iran is being used by China somewhat as a proxy army. But eventually these heavyweights, they're going to get involved, man. Right? But let's read Jeremiah chapter 25 and 15. For thus saith the Lord God of Israel unto me, take the wine cup of the fury at my hand, and cause all nations to whom I send thee to drink it. And again, this wine cup is the judgment and the fury of God. And they shall drink and be moved and be mad because of the sword that I will send among them. So Jeremiah was commissioned to have all nations be a partaker of the judgment of the Most High, right? Verse number 17, Jeremiah 25 and 17. Then took I the cup at the Lord's hand and made all nations to drink, unto whom the Lord had sent me, to wit, Jerusalem, and the cities of Judah, and the kings thereof, and the princes thereof, to make them a desolation and astonishment and hissing and a curse as it is this day. And why Jerusalem first? Well, didn't the Lord say in the book of 1 Peter, the 4th chapter, 17 on down, that judgment is going to begin at the house of God first? So even in the time of the Babylonian Empire, we were cut down, right? But this is actually going on another level today. We're destroyed as a people. So we are drinking at a cup of the wrath of the Most High due to us being in this captivity and going through these curses. But all nations are going to get hit by the Most High. And like I said, hey, anybody could get it, man. We Yahweh Shemel Shai. There's no respect of persons. The Egyptians, they could get it. The Elamite, hey, the Egyptians, they got it before. They know first and foremost they could get it from the Most High. And now Israel, these so-called Jews, they knew about it. See, all these nations know about the Most High, man, right? And his power. But let's read on. Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and his servants and his princes and all his people, right? And all the mingled people, and all the kings in the land of Uz, and all the kings of the land of the Philistines, and Eshkelon, and Azza, and Ekron, and the remnant of Ashdod. So that's why your modern day Philistines are your Palestinians. They getting jammed up. Gaza, Ashdod, Eshkelon, they're getting bombed right now. They're drinking at a cup of the wrath of the Most High. Who else could get it? Edom and Moab and the children of Ammon. And you're watching Edomites get bombed in Tel Aviv. And America right now too. They said that they're sending warships out there to the Mediterranean. More warships. Now, keep in mind two things. One, it was told by multiple sources that when Iran was shooting their missiles to Israel, that America played a major part in stopping those missiles through warships and through other means of technology. So it wasn't just that Iron Dome stopping a lot of those missiles. They're telling you now that America was helping out. Now, if you've been watching, you understand what Iran said. Iran said if anybody helps Israel, we will attack their regional bases. And they were really calling out America. Remember, the second thing, America has military bases all throughout the Middle East. Don't be surprised if they become a target from Iran, right? For those that may not know, let's pull up America's military bases in Middle East. Right, let's pull that up. Let's see. See that? Military.com. Check this out. 8 hours ago, United States helps Israel shoot down barrage of Iranian missiles. So you got involved. You got involved, right? You got involved. You're in too deep, right? You're in too deep. There's no turning back now. Iran told you, man. They said if anybody helps out, that's your you know what. So they helped out. They helped out, right? Now, let's pull up a map of their military bases. So it's pretty much this is going to escalate. Let's see. Let's get a better map. Okay. Where U.S. troops are based in the Middle East. So here's a map of where they're based at, right? This is as of 2020. But I want, and you can see that all of the thousands of soldiers and where they are in Iraq, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, Afghanistan, right? 3,000 in Saudi Arabia, Syria, Jordan. You see that? And you have military bases all throughout the Middle East, right? So when you look at this map, let's see if I can open this up in another tab. So this map legend on the bottom lets you know exactly what you're looking at. Every plane is a United States air base. Every anchor you see is their naval facility. The green flag are the outposts, and its rocket icon are their radar facilities. So look at all of these air bases they have all throughout the Middle East, right? Look where Iran is. You think Iran is going to let them put a military base? No. Iran had died, man, before they let America put a military base out there, right? So Iran is telling them, now that you got involved, expect to see some of these military bases hit. Rather you have it by sea or rather you have it by air. That's what they're telling them right now. Because again, they got involved, man. You got involved. The Lord said, he that hath fellowship with a proud man shall be like unto him. Right? Shall be like unto him. So let's go back to this. And where was that? Jeremiah 25. Right? So we're reading about the nations that are going to get judged by the Most High. Jeremiah 25 and 21. Edom and Moab and the children of Ammon. So China was actually, which are your biblical Moabites, they were actually sending weapons to Iran. And the Ammonites are your Japanese. They actually spoke up, man. And they said, we strongly condemn the provocation of the Israeli army. And let me see if I can find this with a Chinese man. See that? Now here's what I had, June 13th, right? Our friends, the Chinese, who arm and assist Iran, right? So they're saying that China is arming and assisting Iran. All right. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but I'll just read one portion. It says, as the first, that is from IsraelNationNews.com. As the first and hopefully ineffective salvo of drones and ballistic missiles arrive from Iran, let's discuss China's role. China supplied critical missile and drone parts, technology, rocket fuel, and even Chinese personnel who are present in Iran and helping with this attack. The evidence of China's role in the last few months is incontrovertible, right? So that they're involved. China's involved. America's involved. You're seeing that these nations, they're all getting involved to the valley of decision, right? So that's why even the children of Moab are going to get into this thing. The Edomites are going to get into this thing. The children of Ammon, right? Japan, they spoke up, right? Let's see. They came out. See, this from the Japan Times. Japan condemns Israeli attacks against Iran. So Japan made themselves an enemy, man. So the children of Ammon, they're getting involved. So let's go back. Who else is getting involved in this new up-and-coming global war? And all the kings of Tyrus, and all the kings of Zidon, and the kings of the isles which are beyond the sea. So modern day Tyrus and Zidon is Lebanon. Right, Lebanon, and that's Hezbollah. Right? Those are your modern day kings of Tyrus and Zidon, that's Hezbollah. Right? Now, they also are a proxy army from Iran, right? And Hezbollah is part of the RSII alliance, which we speak to often. Russia, Syria, Iran, Iraq, plus one, which is the modern day kings of Tyrus and Zidon, which is Hezbollah. Let's pull that up, right? Let's pull up Hezbollah. Right? See this? Beirut, and I believe Beirut is the capital of Lebanon, right? It says, reportedly warns Hezbollah against joining Iranian response to Israel. Look at this. Hezbollah vows to respond over Israel strikes in Iran. So this thing is getting real, man. Jeremiah 25 happened in the ancient world, but you see Jeremiah 25 coming to play again. We're reading all of these nations and their ancient names, linking it up to their modern day names and how they're going to drink up the wrath of the judgment of the Most High. Right? And again, you have the RSII alliance. Right? Let's pull that up. Right? See, part of understanding biblical prophecy is understanding geopolitics. It's also understanding foreign policy, right? Foreign policy is turning to biblical prophecy. If you want to get more understanding of the chronology of prophecy and how things are going to play out, you have to understand who's allied to who. right? So you can understand what nation is going to be involved in what, right? Because here we are in Jeremiah 25. Yeah, we're reading about the kings of Tyrus and the kings of Zidon, but those are ancient names. This is modern day Lebanon now. And the main military force in Lebanon that's involved in global conflict is going to be Hezbollah. Now, let's pull this up. Let's pull up some geopolitics. The RSII, I want this, RSII Alliance. We pulled this up before, right? So here it is, right? So your RSII Alliance. The Russia, Syria, Iran, Iraq Coalition, RSII, also referred to as the 4+1, which the +1 refers to Hezbollah of Lebanon, was a joint intelligence sharing cooperation between the opponents of the Islamic State, right? So it allegedly got dissolved, but they still have strong military support. Russia, Syria, Iran, Iraq, they still have strong military support. You know, although it may not be on paper, they still have ties, man. Right? And you see, at one time it was Hezbollah, Iran, Iraq, and Russia and Syria. So don't be surprised. That's why Hezbollah, even though you may say it was dissolved, that's why Hezbollah, they still want to back up Iran, right? They said, look, man, we don't like the way that y'all did that, how y'all had this thing play out. And they're telling them, Hezbollah, if you respond, you're going to get pulled into this World War III, right? Let's pull this up. Right, let's see, Iran attack. So now they're saying they're going to stay out of it. We'll see. Hezbollah official says it will stay out of Israel-Iran fight. Right? They said they're going to stay out, but we'll see, man. Right? We'll see through the spirit. Right? We'll see. Because really, Hezbollah reports to Iran, right? When you really understand. So let's move on. Let's go back to Jeremiah 25. Jeremiah 25 and 23. Dedan and Tema and Buz and all that are in the utmost corners, right? And that these are your so-called Middle Eastern nations, right? Dedan, Teman, all of those are near the modern day land of Jordan, right? Modern day land of Onan, all these different lands, right? United Arab Emirates or Oman, United Arab Emirates, and all the kings of Arabia, and all the kings of the mingled people that dwell in the desert. And that's why you have these kings of Arabia. You have a lot of these Ishmaelites and mingled people that dwell in the desert. They're also going to get involved. The nations of the dragons of Arabia, all the kings of Arabia. Here's the kings of Arabia, for those who may not know. The kings of Arabia is Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Oman, Yemen, Bahrain, Kuwait, right? These are your modern day kings of Arabia and the Arabian Peninsula, right off the Arabian Sea, right? So the Bible also speaks to them and calls them the nations of the dragons of Arabia. And slowly but surely, they're also going to get involved in this major global conflict, right? All of these are what Jeremiah chapter 25 and 24 speaks to. Let's read this again. And all the kings of Arabia and all the kings of the mingled people that dwell in the desert. Jeremiah 25 and 25. And all the kings of Zimri and all the kings of Elam and all the kings of the Medes. So your Pakistanians, people of India, your Russians, that's the kings of Elam and the kings of the Medes, right? All of these are global nations that are going to get involved in a major war. Now, there's another clip I want to play, right? Now, this is from, I believe, a few hours ago, right? Now, this says sirens. Make sure the screen should be showing. Okay, con. Right? It's saying sirens are currently sounding at the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, right? That's Iraq. If Iran has attacked the embassy, the U.S. will soon be involved in a conflict. Now, there's no confirmation. We cannot confirm nor deny that the United States Embassy in Baghdad was attacked. But the key part is if. If Iran actually fulfills their promise that if America supports Israel, that they're going to bomb their regional bases, then this is going to be damn near inevitable, man. And they may start attacking these embassies. They may start attacking these military bases. These elites, they want World War III. They're pushing for this agenda. They've always wanted it. It's always been part of the master plan of these devils, right? See that? This from 2 hours ago, from Remarks. Iran says it will target bases of any country that helps defend Israel. And we're just praying to the Most High that Iran, again, is a man of their word. Did we not just show that the United States helped support them? They supported Israel. When the missiles were dropping, the United States and the beast, they shot missiles and they deflected and deterred a lot of those weapons that Iran shot over. So Iran has to stand on what they said, huh? You said you're going to target bases. Now you got to do it. You said you're going to do it, so do it. If you're going to target that in Baghdad, do it, man. Get America involved, man. America, you need to stop playing behind the scenes and pulling strings like a creep. You're supposed to be this big, mighty military nation. Get involved in, man. Put boots on the ground. And America is going to be putting boots on the ground. America is going to get involved, man. Right? Rather people believe it or not, they're going to get involved. Right? Now, France said they're going to get involved as well, man. Right? All these nations are going to get involved. That's why we read Jeremiah 25. Let's go to the book of Revelation. Before I get that, let me pull this up. Where is this at? Bear with me. See that? That's what Macron said. France Macron, and he's just another Zionist, globalist, homosexual, coke sniffing, effeminate, man abusing puppet. Getting his hands, he's in a domestic what they call that, an abusive relationship, man. Just look up Macron getting beat up by his woman, getting snuffed in the face. There's videos of footage at home doing coke, man. He's a bug out, you know. Now, he said Iran is responsible for destabilizing the region. Well, what did Iran do? How did they destabilize the region? What war did they wage? In order to destabilize something, it has to be financially, it has to be militarily, and that's pretty much it. And what did they do? Macron reaffirms Israel's right to defend itself. Nobody attacked them. That's why we hate you damn devils, man. Here you are bombing nations saying we have a right to defend ourselves when nobody attacked you. Right? So here's what they said. Let's see if I can find this. Iran is destabilizing the region. This is from about 10:58 p.m. France will defend Israel, but will not attack Iran. Hold on. What did Iran say? Where is it at? What did Iran say? Let's pull it back up. Iran says it will target bases of any country that helps defend Israel. So far we got the United States helping defend Israel. And now we're seeing France. France, they said, we'll defend them too. So Iran, man, you got a lot you got to get into, man. You got a lot you need to speak on because there's a lot going on in the earth. Iran is destabilizing the region. France will defend Israel, but will not attack Iran. You can't have step World War III, man. I'm going to defend, but I won't attack. No, you going to drink of that cup, man. Then we read Edom, Moab, and the children of Ammon and Jeremiah 25. They're going to get involved. The Lord said he's going to call all nations to come down to the valley of Jehoshaphat. Talking about I'm going to defend, but I won't attack. I'm going to read a little of this. I'm not going to read this whole thing. Right? It reads, this stuff, man. These Edomites are the most deceptive, ungodly, hypocritical people on the earth. Jeremiah, and we know that. We know that. But when you see how the double dealing and how they dealing, I mean, you just gotta, it's ridiculous, man. So let me read a little of this. French President Emmanuel Macron said on Friday that Iran bears a heavy responsibility for destabilizing the Middle East. And again, there's no proof on that. What have they done? What did they do? If anybody's destabilizing the Middle East, it's the so-called Jew who's waging war in Lebanon, the Golan Heights, taking down Palestine, bombing children, bombing hospitals, killing civilians, imprisoning men, popping their women, pushing witchcraft and propaganda on the earth, bombing Iran. They're always the aggressor. The Lord said, let me get this in Proverbs, right? First. Let's go to actually Psalms, right? We can go to Proverbs, but let's do Psalms. Psalms chapter 55, right? And verse number 20. He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant. And the he is Esau. And what does it mean? He's going to put forth his hands. He's going to go to war. He's going to attack. Who is he going to attack? People that are at peace with him. People that did no wrong to him. Nations minding their own damn business, man. And he hath broken his covenant. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. And the drawn swords are the missiles. So Esau, he'll talk. Iran is causing a commotion. They're destabilizing the region. But those are all deceptive. They really want war. War is in their heart. All right, let's go back to this article, and we're going to move on. I'm going to jump down. He is continuing to enrich uranium unjustifiably and at percentages that are very close to what is needed for a nuclear device. And we're still trying to figure out why France can have nuclear weapons, why America can have nuclear weapons, why Russia can have nuclear weapons, why the so-called Jew can have nuclear weapons. But when Iran, we know the reason why. But now Iran is trying to get a nuclear weapon to defend themselves. Hey, damn, if all I got is a slingshot and everybody got guns around me and they're my enemies, I'm going to try to get me a damn gun, man. And you can't shoot me because I'm trying to get a gun. All my enemies got guns around me. They got AR-15s. I got a slingshot. I need to keep up with the times. But you want to shoot my family down because I'm trying to get a weapon to defend myself. That's what's going on right now. Talking about they're doing this unjustifiably. When did the so-called white man become the judge of the Middle East, man? And all nations. Talking about he's getting too close to a nuclear device. And instead of you doubles letting him get it, just let him get it, man. If y'all so big and bad, let them get the nuclear device, man. Y'all could beat them anyway. You Edomites are a bunch of damn, what's the word I'm looking for? I know the word I'm looking for, but I won't say it. Right? A bunch of cowards, man. The way that y'all move, y'all are the most cowardice, deceptive, snake-like nation on the earth. Let's read on. Despite calling for restraint and prudence, what does the so-called white man know about prudence? Macron acknowledged that resuming diplomatic efforts, in particular, the U.S. negotiations with Iran on the nuclear deal that had resumed 2 months ago, will be very difficult in the current circumstance. The current situation poses a risk of uncontrolled escalation. The French president warned, adding that Iran's activities also directly threaten Europe. This is crazy, man. I know Iran is like, man, I hate you damn devils too. Remember, Iran, they call America the great Satan. Now they're saying you building up a nuclear weapon, you're threatening. That's so-called white women, man. That's like that white woman stuff, right? You walking down the street, I feel threatened, right? Anything that any sign of anybody other than a white, so-called white man gaining strength and power for themselves, it could be for their own benefit, for their own health, for the protection of their community, for the protection of their nation, that's always a threat to the so-called white man. Because he's so used to having a dominance over the earth. If anybody tries to muster up strength and defend themselves, that it's a direct threat. That's the Edomite woman spirit, man. How is Iran damn near on the other side of the world, somewhat, right? Building a nuclear weapon. How is that a threat to France? You have that over 100 nuclear warheads. Let's read on. He also stressed that if Iran attacks Israel, which they did, France will defend it. So we're waiting on that, as it had done in the past, but ruled out any participation in military operation against Iran. Macron also warned of potential consequences for the global economy, like oil prices going up, right? Tariffs and all of these things. If tensions between the two countries escalate further, right? If these things escalate further, and they are going to escalate further, right? These things are going to intensify through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashmiel Shah, right? So things are unfolding in the earth, man. Things are happening, and they happening fast. Let's go to the book of, let's go to Revelation, right? The 16th chapter, right? Let's go to Revelation chapter 16 and verse number 13. Or we'll read 14. I mean, this whole thing is good. We'll read 14. We'll read 13, right? Revelation chapter 6. And we might as well start at 12, right? And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. And the kings of the east are being mustered for the battle. The kings of the east is China, Russia, North Korea, India. You understand? Iran, Iraq. Those are the kings of the east. You have the kings of the west, and you have the kings of the east. The kings of the west is Babylon the Great, England, France, Germany, and Spain. And the kings of the east is Russia, China, Iran, Iraq, etc. So the Lord is preparing his kings of the east. And again, yes, the Bible calls it the kings of the east, but again, you have military and political alliances, right? You have the Slovakia. You have the Gulf Corporation Council, right? Some of these go into the nations that are going to get involved in World War III, right? You have the SCO, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, right? Which is another political military alliance that has who? The kings of the east, Belarus, China, India, Iran, Kazakhstan, Pakistan, Russia, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan. So when we're reading about the kings of the East, yes, that's what the Most High calls it. But you have to, again, understanding prophecy, you have to understand what that is on a geopolitical level. On one level, that is your Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Is a Eurasian political, economic, international security, and defense organization established by China, Kyrgyzstan, Russia, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan in 2001, right? So you have these nations that joined. Iran joined in 2023. Belarus joined in 2024. So the kings of the East, on one level, is your SCO, right? The Bible calls it the kings of the East. And they're going to slowly come into that region of the Valley of Jehoshaphat. See, NATO is a military party, but the Bible calls them the 10 horns. The kings of the East is a military party, but it's really predominantly now the SCO. At one time, it was prominent with the RSII alliance, which has since been disbanded in December around 2024, late December. So now your main prominent kings of the East is your SCO, right? You also have your CSTO, right? Which also plays somewhat of a role as well. Let's pull up the CSTO. CSTO. The Collective Treaty Security Organization, right? Is an intergovernmental military alliance in Eurasia, consisting of 6 post-Soviet states: Armenia, Belarus, Kyrgyzstan, Russia, and Tajikistan, right? So check this out. It says, similar to Article 5 of NATO and the Inter-American Treaty of Reciprocal Assistance, Article 4 of the CST, which is the Collective Security Treaty, establishes that an aggression against one signatory would be perceived as an aggression against all. So they're just like NATO. You attack Russia, everybody getting involved. You attack Belarus, everybody getting involved. If you attack Russia, it's over, right? It's over. So you have to understand that these modern day political parties are found in the Bible. And this is predominantly your Gog and Magog, and they have other allies. And again, you have your SCO, your Shanghai Cooperation Organization. We're showing you how geopolitics play a major role in biblical prophecy, and how foreign policy, which is the wine of the nations, and the frogs that come from the beast, also stir up the nations for World War III, right? So let's go back to Revelation 16, right? In order to understand biblical prophecy, you must understand foreign policy and geopolitics. You'll have more of an understanding of the matter at hand. Now, let's read this again. Revelation chapter 16 and 12. And the 6th angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the East might be prepared. And we showed you the kings of the East, right? China and Russia and their respective allies. They're going to bring their tanks. They're going to bring their military jeeps. They're going to bring their intercontinental ballistic missiles and all of their military into the Middle East, right? Let's pull up the map of the Middle East. Here's the Euphrates River, right? You have the Tigris and the Euphrates River. The Lord's going to have these rivers, or that river predominantly, dry up, so all these nations can come into this region where the Valley of Decision is, and where Armageddon is going to take place. And it's always in the Middle East, man. Right? The Middle East is a major location in biblical prophecy due to the fact that this region was the land given to Abraham. Abraham was given the land from the Nile River all the way to the river Euphrates. That was the land given to them. So that's why you always have the conflict and the wars going on in that region, right? And that's in Genesis, the 15th chapter. We can get that as well. So let's read on. Revelation chapter 16 and 13. And I saw 3 unclean spirits, like frogs, come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. So similar to ancient Egypt, when the Lord sent the plagues of the frogs, they were everywhere. In the kneading troughs, in the houses, in the stoves, they was all over the place. You got different types of frogs. You got poisonous frogs. You got frogs that give you warts, frogs that bug you out, frogs that bite you, frogs that don't. And you got all types of stuff, man. But the point is, they hop all over the place. What the Most High is saying is through sorcery, through witchcraft of these elites and this illuministic agenda, the so-called white man is pushing spirits on the earth, right? Working on the minds of the people through media, through the false flags, through these agendas. And it's going to Russia. It's going to China. Japan is even involved, saying we condemn that. So the spirit of war and seduction all starts with the beast, the dragon, and the false prophet, which really just goes into America, right? Which is the head part of NATO, right? The chief part of NATO. They're the ones pushing this. Verse number 14. For they are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world to gather them to the battle of the great day of God Almighty. So that links up with Jeremiah 25. Why are all nations speaking to what's going on in the Middle East? Because it's all part of that Zionist elite agenda. Through the worship of Satan and through sorcery and witchcraft, they have been trying to complete a new world order and an agenda. So the demons that work with them are influencing other world leaders, whether they are unknown or know of it. It's like whether they know of it or not. But everybody has some type of stake in the game now. Japan is speaking on it. France is speaking on it. Russia, they're speaking on it. China, they're speaking on it. Everybody's coming together for a war, right, in that region. And it all starts with the beast. Verse number 19. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. So you have to watch. You got to watch. You got to watch the prophecies. You have to see what Iran is doing, what Russia is doing. What's the next move on the chessboard? You have to watch. If you're not watching and keeping your garments, meaning repenting and keeping the commandments, keeping yourself clean and pure, you're going to be destroyed. You're going to walk naked without a covering, and everybody's going to watch you be destroyed. You have to watch the prophecies. You have to watch over your spirit and keep your garment clean. Verse number 16. And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon, right? Armageddon. This is an event that is going to take place, which is the final battle, and it's like a final battle of World War III, right? Armageddon, the mountain of soldiers, the mountains of troops, right? Where you're going to have many soldiers from many different land masses all going into this region that you currently see on the screen, this region right here. They're all going to come down here. Right now, Iran is there, getting involved. Israel is getting involved. The United States, they have warships coming to that region. France said they're getting involved. China's getting involved. All nations are coming to this region. Let's go to the book of Joel, the 3rd chapter, right? You're seeing these prophecies unfold before your very eyes. What more does the Most High have to show you, man? Right? This is the book of Joel, chapter 3, and verse number 11. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about thither, cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. The mighty ones are the soldiers, the generals, lieutenants, the captains, the trained men that are trained to shoot to kill. They're the mighty ones. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. And that's a climactic battle in that Middle East. And the judgment is going to be by the return of Yahushua. Right? That's the final judgment, which is the battle of Armageddon. So you see all of these nations coming into that region. They're being stirred up for war. Right? Let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 15. Who else is going to be there? The nations of the dragons of Arabia. Right? They themselves are going to be there. Remember, we read in Jeremiah 25. Let's go back to that. All the kings of Arabia. Jeremiah chapter 25 and 24. It reads, see that? Got breaking news. What is this? Salakia. Israeli paramedics rush to Iran missile strike site. So they still getting it in, man. Right? Iran just put out on social media. What did they say? They said, Salakia, everyone will feel it. And like I said, they're doing a lot of talking, man. They're doing a lot of talking. They're doing a lot of talking. Now they're saying China calls on Israel to immediately stop all dangerous military actions. There's a lot going on. China, Russia, I'm going to pull this up, right? Let me pull this up. Iran's reply. Let's talk about this. I'm going to hold that, right? Let's see. Right, bear with me. I'm going to go back to the precept. But I got to get this because this is happening in real time, huh? Right? We're giving this in real time. See if I can get this post that was made. Let's see. Bear with me. I want to try to get this. If not, that's fine. I'll just go back to the precept. All right, let's see if I can get this. All right, let me go down. Let's scroll down really quickly. See that? The country that allowed Israel to use its airspace to attack Iran will be considered an enemy of Iran, right? So all these nations, man, they're going to get involved, right? They're going to get involved. All right, where is this at? There's another post I wanted to show. So they're showing them, man. They're boasting about the destruction, right? They're boasting about the destruction. Here it is. China, Russia, North Korea, and Pakistan announced support for Iran. So this goes into the kings of the East. We just named these nations, and they're going to support Iran, right? They're going to support Iran. Look, and you got Amalek running for shelter. Look at this. These Amalekites. Let me see if I can get some audio for that. Right? You got Amalekites. I got to hear that. I got to hear what that sounds like, man. I know it's a lot going on, right? But that's okay, right? Because we got to see these devils run. Iran dropping them bombs, and you got Amalek running, man. I thought y'all was the people of the Most High. The hell, what are you running for? How come they're not calling on the name of Yahweh? Bashmi Abusha. How come they're not all sitting in sackcloth and ashes, weeping before the altar? You know, these people ain't the people of the Lord, man. They are running to the help of man and man's creation of a nuclear bunker. I thought they were the people of the Most High. I thought the Lord said, call unto me in the day of trouble, and I will answer thee. Right? And I will deliver thee, and thou shalt glorify me. I thought the Most High said that he's going to fight for you, and you're going to hold your peace. These damn doubles, and you can hear the air raid sirens in the background. Looking for a nuclear bunker. All praise to the Most High, man. We're praying that they're scared to death, man. We're praying that they're scared to death. They're trembling, that they're dealing with heavy anxiety, you know, that they're sweating. We're praying that their whole lives are in complete turmoil. Now, let's go to this in 2 Ezra 15, right? Because everybody going to get involved. Everybody's going to get involved. This is 2 Ezra, chapter 15. Make sure the screen's showing. And verse number 33, man. Damn doubles run into an underground bunker, man. Right? Where is that at in the scriptures, man? Right? Where is that at? Let's get this. 2 Ezra, chapter 15 and 33. Behold, an horrible vision and the appearance thereof from the east. So why is it always the east? Because it's going into the so-called Near East or the Middle East, right? That's where the land of Israel is. That's the geographical boundaries that the Most High gave Abraham, right? Let's actually prove that. I spoke of that earlier. But for brothers that may not know, let's go to Genesis, the 15th chapter, and the promise the Most High gave Abraham, right? Genesis chapter 15 and verse number 18. It reads, and the same day, Yahweh, Ba'ashmi Abishai, made a covenant with Abram, saying, unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates. So when you look at the land of Israel, it's not just that small strip. See, they're trying to occupy and fulfill Genesis, the 15th chapter. Because a lot of people got questions, man. Well, I was reading Genesis 15. I thought when the true people of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob had the land, it would be from Egypt to Euphrates. So they're pushing to try to take those boundaries. They would like to take down Iran. They would like to take down Palestine. They would like to take down Hezbollah and all these people that stand in their way, right? So they can fulfill, see, this the land that they got, that they can fulfill the promise. But the true boundaries are from the river of Egypt, which is the Nile River, unto the great river Euphrates, right? So that's a significant amount of land. And it's where the major conflict is going on, right? So that's why the vision is from the east, because that's where the prominence of prophecies are going to take place. The Lord also, you know, that's the where the Garden of Eden was in that region. That's what you call the Fertile Crescent. Scholars still call it the cradle of civilization, right? Let's read on. Verse number 29. Where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. So now we read about the kings of the east. We read about, or we spoke of, the 10 horns in NATO. There's another military alliance that God calls the dragons of Arabia. That would be your Gulf Corporation Council, but also this is the political side. Your Gulf Corporation Council, which consists of what? Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and United Arab Emirates. These are the nations of the dragons of Arabia. Now, their military arm is called the Peninsula Shield Force, and we've covered this before, right? Peninsula Shield Force. The Peninsula Shield Force is the military arm of the Gulf Cooperation Council. So that's similar to how the European Union is there, but their military arm is NATO. All right. Same thing with these nations in the Middle East. The Dragons of Arabia, their economic and political side is the Gulf Cooperation Council, but the military side is the Peninsula Shield Force. This is the nations of the Dragons of Arabia, right? So the Peninsula Shield Force is the military arm of the Gulf Cooperation Council. It is intended to deter and respond to military aggression against any of the Gulf Cooperation Council member countries. Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates. So the Bible calls it the Dragons of Arabia, though. But now we know on the geopolitical level what those countries are. And they're also going to play a major role in World War III. Let's read on to verse number 30. Also, the Carmanians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. So your Carmanians are your modern day Iranians. Yes, Iran is found in the Bible. You can see them being called Persia, right? And you can also see them being called the Carmanians. When you pull up an ancient map of the Median Empire or the Persian Empire, let's see, Carmania Bible map, right? Its ancient location is where modern day Iran is. The ancient location of Carmania is modern day Iran. So you have Carmania, you have Persia, that's Iran. Literally, that's Iran. So we get another map. Right? See the Medo-Persian Empire. Carmania is where modern day Iran is. Right? This is the Medo-Persian Empire. So when the Lord said that the Carmanians are going to rage in wrath, he's speaking about the modern day Iranians. Also, let's read it again. 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and 30. Also, the Carmanians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood. Why are they likened to wild boars of the wood? Because wild boars, when you understand husbandry, agriculture, wild boars, they're like what they call an invasive species. They break apart your crops. They tread your tomatoes, your wheat down. They use their tusk and they dig up the ground and they destroy the whole earth. So that's why it's a beautiful comparison that the Most High used for the wild boars. You have actual Edomites. When you look it up, they literally hunt down wild boars and shoot them from helicopters because of the massive destruction that they cause towards the earth. Let's pull this up. What do, brothers, let's pull this up. What do wild boars do to the environment? Let's just type that in. Right? Or what damage? Here you have it, right? What damage do wild boars cause? Destroyed vegetation and wallows reduce the aesthetic value of private properties, as well as public parks and recreational areas. So they destroy land masses. Feral swine foraging, rooting, and wallowing also damages landscapes, golf courses, recreational fields, cemeteries, parks, lawns, and other natural areas. So they destroy everything, right? They destroy everything. So that's what they're likened. The military is likened them to wild boars. Look what the wild boars did to the earth. They destroyed the earth, man. You know? So the Most High likened that Iranian military to a wild boar. And a wild boar during the time of, I believe, the Eastern Roman Empire, Middle Ages, they were a symbol for victory, right? Let's see, a wild boar Muslim, I believe, let's pull this up. Victory. I don't want that. Let's see, symbol. Let's see. Okay. Wild boar in Persian culture, right? So I'm not going to read this whole thing, obviously, but I want to get straight to the point. In Persia, the Sassanid Empire was established from 224 to 651 AD. Sassanids consciously sought to revive Iranian traditions that were eradicated under the influence of Greek culture, right? And they named these men. These men built a new city called Ve-as Anatok Corso. The royal seal of the Corso displays the image of a wild boar, right? Why? Because the wild boar, let's read this. Historically, the boar was the animal associated with the Zoroastrian Yazadavam, the epitome of victory, right? So also this wild boar was the epitome of victory, but also it's an animal that's literally known for destroying the earth. So that's what the military is likened unto. You have these similitudes being used in the Bible. Esau is a dragon. He's a serpent, right? Israel were sheep, were lambs. And these Iranians, this mixture of Elamites and Ishmaelites, they are wild boars of the wood, right? So let's read it. 2nd Ezra 15 to 30. Also, the Carmanians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood. And with great power shall they come, and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. So they're going to join battle with the dragons of Arabia. So there's going to be conflict going on amongst them. And you've been having conflict between the dragons of Arabia and Carmania for a long time, huh? Right? There's been major conflict. A lot of these Arabs, man, they actually, like Jordan, Saudi Arabia, a lot of them are actual allies to America, right? So, and here's a quote that their prince said: Saudi Arabia does not want nuclear bombs, but if Iran developed a nuclear bomb, we will follow suit. And there's been constant tension. You brothers that study geopolitics, you know that between Iran and Saudi Arabia, right? Iran is hardcore. Saudi Arabia, they like to bend over for the so-called white man, right? Let's see if we can pull this up. Iranian Saudi relations, right? Iran and Saudi Arabia have engaged in a proxy conflict over the influence in the Middle East and over other regions in the middle world. It's like in the Muslim world. So you're going to have that conflict go on. And when they wage war, they're going to waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. The land of the Assyrians is the Middle East, right? So bombs are going to drop. War is going to continue in the land of Assyria. Let's pull up the Assyria on the map. Assyria Bible map, right? Here's Assyria. So when they fight, here's the Assyrian Empire, right? They're going to destroy parts of the Middle East, cities, right? Countries, hospitals, schools, military bases, all these things. They're going to waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians, right? Let's read on. Verse 31. And then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature, and that they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them. And the dragons have the upper hand because a lot of weapons that the dragons have, they get it from the so-called white man. They work hand in hand. The Saudi Arabia, they work hand in hand with Esau. Helicopters, ammunition, technology, they get it from the beast. And they're also going to have the upper hand because they're Ishmaelites, man. Remembering their nature, right? So you got Iran, they're Ishmaelites, but you got a little Elamite amongst them. These Arabs are pure Arabs, pure Ishmaelites. And remember, the nature of Ishmael is he's a wild man. So they're going to tap into that wild man demon. And Saudi Arabia, they have the strongest military in the Middle East. I don't have to look that up. You can look that up on your own, right? Let's read on. Verse 32. Then these shall be troubled and keep silence through their power and shall flee. Right? And let me get this in another, see if we get this in another translation. Right? Let's do it in the GNT. It might help brothers understand more. Right? Let's see. Okay, 2nd Ezra 15 and 30. The Carmanians will come out of the forest in a fierce rage like wild boars, advancing in full strength to attack the dragons. That's what it means they're going to join battle, right? When you look up joining battle in the Bible, it's a conflict between two parties. With their tusk, they will tear up a large part of Assyria. So your tusk are your military weapons, right? Iran has military weapons and hypersonic missiles that are going to tear up land masses in the Middle East. But the dragons will unite their forces because in that Middle East, you have the Peninsula Shield Force. They're going to unite their forces, regain their former strength, and win the victory because they have a lot of military support, right? Remember, Saudi Arabia and these Arab nations, they rely heavy on America. Right? Look at this. For over 80 years, the United States and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia have enjoyed a strong relationship based on mutual respect and common interests. So don't think that every nation in the Middle East is against America. How did America get military bases in Saudi Arabia and these different places? So America, Saudi Arabia is like their puppet, man. They're strong allies. They're great friends. You know, and I'm led to believe this prince, he's actually like a damn puppet Edomite setup, right? But these guys are allies. Everybody in the Middle East doesn't hate America. You know? These guys give oil to America. America gives them weapons. They're great trading partners. Right? They're great trading partners. So again, the prophecy says that they're going to be in conflict, right? And they're going to help take down some of them Carmanians. They will turn and pursue the wild boars who will be thrown into panic, beaten into silence, and forced to turn and run. Because really, them wild boars, Iran is strong, but Iran is only as strong as the support that they get from China and Russia, right? They're only as strong as that. They're going to need China and Russia. That's why Ezekiel 38 says that Russia is going to be a guard unto them. You know, they're going to help protect them. The wild boars will be ambushed in Assyria, and one of them will be killed. This will bring fear and panic to their army and indecision to their kings. So yeah, Iran being a wild boar, they're going to be strong. And you see them attacking Israel, but they're not the top military might. They're not going to win World War III. They're not going to be the end all be all. See, the Bible tells us what's actually going to go down. Let's go to Daniel 11, right? Let's go to Daniel, the 11th chapter, right? We're going to read, see where I'm at with time, right? And that's okay, man. Doesn't matter where we at with time tonight because all hell is breaking loose in the earth, right? This Daniel chapter 11 and 36, it reads, now when you read Daniel, the 11th chapter, and we've done breakdowns on this, 1 on up to about 35 goes into the king of the north and the king of the south. The Ptolemaic Empire and dynasty against the Seleucid Empire and their dynasty, right? The king of the north in antiquity are the Seleucid Empire. Seleucus the first Nicator, Antiochus II Theos, Antiochus Magnus, Antiochus Epiphanes IV, Ptolemy, all those men, right? It's like Seleucus, all those men. King of the South, Ptolemy I Soter, Ptolemy Euergetes, Philopator IV, all those men are the kings of the South. When you get to the 11th chapter, the Most High, he essentially, for lack of better terms, shifts the gears into a future prophecy that deals with a modern king of the North and a modern day king of the South. Based off of what you read in Daniel 11:36 through 39, this modern day king of the South is the so-called white man, the Edomite, right? Chiefly coming from the seed of the beast, America. And the context and the spirit of it lets you understand that. So let's read Daniel 11:36. And the king shall do according to his will, and he shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god, and shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods, and shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished, for that is determined shall be done. So Esau, the so-called white man, he's going to prosper. He's going to magnify himself. He's going to make himself God. He's going to make you worship him through his science, through his religion, through Christianity. He's going to prosper until Yahushua returns. That's what this means, until our indignation is accomplished, until we are done drinking of the cup of the Most High. You see, our indignation is not forever. Let me go to 2 Maccabees to prove that. Let's go to 2 Maccabees, the 6th chapter, right? That there's actually a set timeline for this that the Most High set up, right? In 2 Maccabees 6. Let's read that. This is 2 Maccabees chapter 6 and verse number 14. Let's read that. 2 Maccabees 6 and 14. For not as with other nations, whom the Lord patiently forbeareth to punish, till they come to the fullness of their sins, so dealeth he with us. So the Most High, he'll punish us until the nations reach the peak of their sins. Remember, the Amorites had to reach the peak of their sins in order for Joshua and Caleb and the Israelites to take over that land. We didn't inherit the promised land for our righteousness, but for the wickedness of those nations. You have to remember that. So these nations are reaching the climax of their sins, right? And we're going through the indignation. Micah, the 7th chapter tells you that. I will bear the indignation of the Lord because I have sinned against him until he plead my cause. And the Lord is going to plead our cause once these nations cap out in their sins. Let's read that in the next verse. Lest that being come to the height of sin, afterwards he should take vengeance of us. So once they reach the peak of their sins, the Most High destroys them. But in the meantime, we're going through the indignation. The so-called white man is going to have power over us until that indignation is finished. This is what Daniel 11:36 is saying. Let's read it again. And shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished, for that is determined shall be done. What was determined? Us going through the curses. What else was determined? Yahushua destroying him when the curses are done. That's what it means, that is determined shall be done, through the foreknowledge of the creator of heaven and earth. Verse 37. Neither shall he regard the God of his fathers, nor the desire of women, nor any God, for he shall magnify himself above all. He did, man. Who are the God of Esau's fathers? He had many gods. He worshiped. His first God was Quos. See, before white Jesus, before Serapis Christians, before Zeus, Poseidon, Hades, for all of these gods that you may have newly heard of, Esau worshipped Quos. That was his ancient god, man. Let's pull up Edomite god Quos. So these were the gods of the fathers of Esau. He doesn't regard these gods anymore. Let's pull up an image of Quos. See that? This was an ancient Edomite god. These are his real gods. Before he gentrified, whitewashed, and took the image and name of the Lord from the Israelites, These were the gods that he worshipped. These are the gods of his fathers that he doesn't regard anymore, right? Quos, Serapis Christus was another Edomite god that the Ptolemies set up. Look at this god, this so-called god. Damn, a foolish god with a flower pot on his head. He was a mixture of an Egyptian god and Greek gods. So they used to worship Serapis Christus. These are the gods of his fathers. Now here's the top Edomite god, white Jesus. Right? So he had many gods. He also had Zeus. This at one time, this was the Edomite top god. So now we understand what Daniel 11 and 37 is saying. That when this American Edomite is in power, he doesn't regard these other gods. He is God. That's what he likens himself to. That's what Ezekiel 28, 1 through 3 says. Isaiah 14, 12 through 14 says, he said, I will be like the Most High. Verse 38, but in his estate shall he honor the God of forces. A God whom his fathers knew not shall he honor with gold and silver and with precious stones and pleasant things. So the God of forces is really his military might, power, right? He worships power. He worships the force. He worships war, right? Bloodshed. That's the God of forces. Munitions and strongholds and war, power, military might, which is true. Remember the blessing of Esau. He was given a great sword. He worships the sword. And he honors the sword and his power with gold and silver and precious stones and pleasant things. See, when the Israelites in the ancient world, when we conquered nations, we took their gold and silver and precious stones and pleasant things and we brought it to the temple, right? And dedicated it to the Most High. That's what you do. When you have a power and a deity, the spoils of war that the deity allowed you to get, you dedicate to him. Some of the Most High may have us divvy amongst ourselves, right? The spoils of war. But a lot of these things go to the Most High. All nations do it. Then doesn't it say in Joel the 3rd chapter, even the Africans, some Hamites, my gold and my silver have you taken into your temples, paraphrase. See, the so-called white man, he does the same thing. He worships the spiritual demon Satan that allows him to get power. All this power will I give thee if thou wilt bow down and worship me. And he honors Satan. He honors the power that Satan gives him by sacrifices. And the sacrifices that he has to make is the bloodshed of children, men, and women, and all other lands. That's why he goes land to land. If you didn't know, it's not for money. It's because he has to constantly give sacrifices to the spiritual demon Satan. He has to constantly bomb. He has to constantly murder. He has to constantly molest. He has to constantly kill. These are sacrifices. He has to take gold and resources and dedicate it to Satan. That's why he does the things that he does. Yeah, you may say oil, gold, guns. It's deeper than that. This devil has high priests. He has warlocks. He has wizards that all operate cohesively on the left-hand side, who tell these rich elite Edomites what they must do in order to stay in power. So they invade, they conquer, they destroy, they bomb, they destroy, rob, kill. And every soul that they kill is like a sacrifice to Satan that allows them to stay in power. Same thing happens on the lower level in the industry. You see it all the time. You see it every day with these up-and-coming celebrities. They come famous out of nowhere. They become damn A-list actors, and all of a sudden somebody dies. Your grandmother died, or your mother died in a fire, or your son died in a car accident. Your best friend died. Those are sacrifices for them to stay in power. Let's go to Habakkuk. Right, let's get another precept. Let's go to Habakkuk to prove that. Right, Habakkuk, the 1st chapter. And I want verse number 13, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, I want 16. Let's get straight to the point. I'll read 14. Habakkuk 1-14. And make his men as the fishes of the sea, as the creeping things that have no ruler over them. So men are likened to fish and creeping things. But they're conquered by the so-called white man. We're going to read that. They take up all of them with the angle. They catch them in their net and gather them in their drag. Therefore they rejoice and are glad. So when the Edomites conquer the other nations through the philosophies, that's the net. Through the religions, that's the drag. Through the military might, that's the angle, the fish hook. This is how they conquer men. The same way fishermen conquer fish. Let's see what they do. Verse number 16. Therefore, they sacrifice unto their net and burn incense unto their drag, because by them their portion is fat and their meat plenteous. So they sacrifice unto power and unto the God of forces that allows them to conquer men. They do sacrifices unto power and to Satan, because that's what allows them to conquer men. So this is what Daniel 11 is saying, that they're going to honor the God of forces, right? Daniel 11-39. Thus shall he do in the most strongholds with the strange gods. So he's going to conquer different strongholds, whom he shall acknowledge and increase with glory, because he's going to become more and more powerful. As the Lord raised up Egypt, he's going to allow America to raise up. And they're going to increase in glory, GDP, global dominance, influence in the earth, all nations in bed. They're going to increase with glory. And he shall cause them to rule over many and shall divide the land for gain. He divided the land. In the 1940s, he gave the land to the so-called Jew. He divided up Africa. He took over the Philippines. He took over the Caribbean. He took over America. He divided up the land for gain. And whoever was with him, he helped them get a portion of the land. Verse number 40. Here's the point we want. And at the time of the end, the king of the south shall push at him, and the king of the north shall come against him with whirlwinds, with chariots, and with horsemen, and with many ships, and he shall enter into the countries and shall overflow and pass over. So you're going to have a power, right? A kingdom that's going to push at the so-called white man in these last days, right? And provoke him. And this is what's going to cause the king of the north to really get active in the Middle East. The king of the north is America, right? And they're going to get active in that region. That's what's going to allow America to really get into the Middle East through this. It starts with this conflict right now with Iran and Israel, but it's going to escalate. Rather, Iran attacks them or another nation attacks America. But once that happens, America is going to be fully invested and involved in World War III. And they're going to bring their entire military to that region. Let's get that in Joel, the 2nd chapter, right? So America, we're showing you how they're going to get involved. They're called the Northern Army, right? That's why we read about them as the future king of the north. This is Joel chapter 2 and verse number 20. But I will remove far off from you the Northern Army. That's the American army. And will drive them into a land barren and desolate. We just read that in Daniel 11. With his face toward the east sea and his hinder part toward the utmost sea. And his stink shall come up and his ill savor shall come up, because he had done great things. So he's going to be in the Middle East, between the Mediterranean and the Euphrates, right? Really, between the Euphrates, Dead Sea, Persian Gulf. He's going to be in that region, right? That's the hinder sea and the utmost sea. So the Northern Army is going to be pushed to be in that region, right? Verse number 41. He shall enter into the glorious land. That's why when Yahushua returns, the American army is going to be there, right? And the other kings of the earth. That's what the Valley of Decision is about, the glorious land. Armageddon, the glorious land. He's going to enter into the glorious land. This is talking about the king of the North, America. It's not talking about Antiochus Epiphanes IV. It doesn't fit him at all. It doesn't fit him by any prophecy. There's no proof that from 40 on down, this could be speaking about Antiochus Epiphanes IV. It never happened. Right? Because eventually you read he's going to die in Jerusalem or die in the land of Israel. And that Antiochus Epiphanes died in the mountains somewhere, man. So the Northern Army is going to enter into that Middle Eastern region as things escalate and build up. And many countries shall be overthrown, but these shall escape out of his hand, even Edom and Moab and the chief of the children of Ammon. So you have modern day countries that dwell in these regions who are allies with America. You have Jordan, right? You have Saudi Arabia. You have other nations that modernly dwell in the land of Edom and Moab and Ammon. So not everybody in the Middle East, again, is the enemy of America. Modern day, geographically, Edom and Moab and Ammon represent the Middle Eastern allies of America. Where's the map of the Middle East? Right? Pull up map of the Middle East again. Let's pull this up through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shah. Right? Let's pull this up. Slocky, what I did was, I believe Slocky, bear with me. So we're going into this World War III biblical prophecy on a deeper level. So if you look up on the biblical map where Edom was, Moab was on the other side of the Jordan River, that's where Jordan is, right? So you have Jordan and you have other allies in the Middle East that work with America. Jordan being one of them, Saudi Arabia is another. All right, let's pull this up. Jordan, America relations. Right? Jordan has been a very close ally of the United States for decades, dating back to the establishment of bilateral relations between the two countries. Jordan has been a very close ally of the United States for decades, right? So they're a major non-NATO ally since '96. So again, understanding geopolitics, Jordan saw certain nations, they love America, man. They're coons, they're sellouts. So when they get down, certain nations are going to sell out in the Middle East to conform to America, right? And defer to them. Verse number 42 in Daniel 11. He shall stretch out his hand also upon the countries, and the land of Egypt shall not escape. But he shall have power over the treasures of gold and silver, and over all the precious things of Egypt, and the Libyans and the Ethiopians shall be at his steps, right? But the tidings out of the east and out of the north shall trouble him. Therefore, he shall go with great fury to destroy and utterly to make away many. So he's going to take over, invade. Then you have nations from the kings of the east and out of the north. You got China out of the east. You got Russia out of the north. They're going to help be partakers of the destruction of America. That's tidings out of the east and out of the north. China, Russia, and nuclear weapons. And America know that they can't deal with them. They're going to be troubled by those people, those nations. Verse number 45. And he shall plant the tabernacles of his palace between the seas and the glorious holy mountain. So his tabernacles are his war tents, right? When you pitch your tents. Yet he shall come to his end and none shall help him. So he's going to die in that region when Yahweh Shah returns. So you're going to have America get involved in this World War III. The dragons of Arabia, the king of the north, the kings of the east, they're all going to get involved. So what you're watching right now is, let's pull this up. It's just a stepping stone. This is just the starter pack of what the Most High is going to do on the earth, right? So let me play this audio of this clip. I know I'm moving fast, right? But let me pull this up, see if I can get the audio right through the spirit. So this is damage like we've never known before. Parts of Tel Aviv lie in smoldering ruins tonight. And all praise to Yahweh Shemel Shah, that the Lord is allowing us to see the downfall of our enemies.
ממש נזק שלא ידענו של כמותו, כבר גוררים פה רכבים כמו שאפשר לראות. בבניין הזה פה ממש הרוס לחלוטין. זה המצב כאן ברמת גן, לב רמת גן, אחד האירועים המשמעותיים מתחילת המלחמה. כוחות פיקוד העורף עובדים, אבל בלי ספק אירוע מאוד מאוד קשה.
Iran got their get back, man. You know, now they lost some people too, man. Iran lost their generals. They lost, like, allegedly, they lost their top scientists. You know, hey, they lost a lot of people, man. Don't get me wrong, but at least they got their lick back. So we're waiting to see the death toll, right? We're waiting to see the death toll of how many casualties we have, how many dead bodies there are, right? We're waiting to see these things, man. Right? Let's go to the book of Matthew. Right? Let's go to Matthew chapter 24. Right? Salakia. Let's go to Matthew 24. And brothers should be keeping watch, man. I mean, these are exciting times. Right? I've been excited all day, man, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashmi Awashad. And we really want them to drop the nuke. Let's just cut to the point, man. Cut to the chase. Get to the point, right? Somebody got to drop the nuke. Somebody has to drop the nuke, man. Right through the spirit, man. Now, Slaki. Lord willing, somebody does. Right? Let me see if anything new kind of escalated. Yeah, man, bombs, man. They still going at it. Right? You got to keep watch. They said they use submarines, F-35 bombers. Right? They're saying planes from China are arriving. What else? I can't pull all this up on the screen, but you know, you could check this out, man. Right? You can check all this out on your own through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashmi Shah. Now they got footage of from RT News. You can look this up. Trump covertly ships 300 Hellfires to Bibi just before bombing Iran. So now footage is out of Iran being attacked by America, man. Them helping them out, rather, should I say. So now they're saying Israel says Iran targeted civilian homes. So this thing is getting real, man. If Iran attacks America's military bases, it's going to go down. Right? It's going to go down. So let me play this clip real quick through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashmi Shah. Or play this, read this precept, right? Matthew 24 and verse number 42. Watch ye therefore, for ye know not what hour your Lord doth come. You have to keep watch of these prophecies, right? Be occupied and see what the Most High is doing in the earth. But know this, that if the good man of the house had known and would watch, the thief would come. He would have watched and would have not have suffered his house to be broken up. The thief is Yahweh Shah, and all hell breaking loose. If you're watching over your spirit, you're praying, you're fasting, you're repenting, you're studying, you're keeping the law, statutes, and the commandments, you're building yourself up in the most holy faith, you're cognizant of the season and the judgments of the Most High that he's doing on the earth, your house ain't going to get broken up. Because a thief can't, one of the main sources of power from a thief is the element of surprise, not just physical weapons and guns and things of that nature, but it's the element of surprise, which allows them to always have the upper hand on those who are asleep. But if you're awake, the element of surprise means nothing to you because you're not surprised. You're expecting and waiting for him to come in the house so you can take him down, right? So if you're asleep, meaning you're in the world, you're too invested in your job, you're too invested in sports and folly, you don't know what's going on in the earth, and all of this is new, you might want to examine yourself, man. You need to examine yourself. Otherwise, all hell could break loose and you're not going to know what's going on. Verse number 44. Therefore, be ye also ready, for at such an hour as ye think not, the Son of Man cometh. So we discussed World War III happening, right? Different military factions, the dragons of Arabia, the kings of the north, the northern army, what Iran is going to do to Carmanians, how the Arabs are going to get involved, the kings of the east are going to get involved. Just keep watching that region, right? And see if the Most High puts a spirit in these nations to back up what they're saying. See if France is really going to get involved. Remember Article 5. Remember Article 4 of the CSTO, right? If Russia gets involved. Remember the SCO. If China is getting involved. If America gets involved. Now, again, the Most High can have things de-escalate. I say that all the time, right? Because that's, how these prophecies work. Sometimes, you're at the edge of your seat and this could be it. And the Most High kind of quell things down. So the Most High can do that. We're praying to Yahweh Bashmel Shai that he doesn't do that, right? And the Most High allows these things to continually escalate, ultimately up until Jacob's trouble or a hell breaking loose and the return of our Lord Yahweh Shai. So stay in prayer. Keep throwing up those curses. Keep praying that the Most High show new signs and other strange wonders and more blood moons and more earthquakes in the earth. And look to get the hell out of here, man. Let's get Luke the 21st chapter, right? This is Luke chapter 21 and verse number 29. And he spake a parable to them. Behold, the fig tree and all the trees, when they now shoot forth their seed, and know of your own selves that summer is now nigh at hand. Anybody can go outside and see how flowers are beginning to bloom and trees are beginning to gain their leaves and grow flowers. You know that the seasons are changing, it's transitioning. There's a major transition in the ecosystem based off of what you're able to observe. So there's a major shift in power amongst nations based off of what you're able to observe. And a season and a time of Esau's rulership is coming to an end. And our growth and our deliverance begins to draw nigh. And you can see that. Let's read that in the next verse. So likewise, yea, when ye see these things come to pass, know ye that the kingdom of the Most High is nigh at hand. When you see the prophecies unfold, verily I say unto you that this generation shall not pass away till all be fulfilled. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away. These prophecies are going to unfold. The Lord sent it out, and it shall not return unto him void. So with that, we're going to close up, giving, of course, all honor and glory to Yahweh. B'Hashema Mashiach wa Malak Yahushai. Most High willing you are edified. Kwam Yashalom. Shalom. Hey, keep the Sabbath holy. No buying, no selling, no cooking, no working, no sex on the Sabbath, no vanity. Keep the Sabbath day holy. Kwam Yashalom. Shalom.